right side kind of hurt him there. He was fighting that white line all the way down. Here tonight, going to spot that sled here a little bit left of center. They've been kind of working this spot. And I would imagine try to drive it up, just like we saw Mr. Holsworth as he got an unbelievable hole shot. He got that sled moving really quick. That's what it's going to take. So that chicken down there, he's getting a little bit, he's getting wound up.
He's getting a little cocky, I think.
Yeah.
Pun intended there. Getting a little cocky. That chicken is talking about racing. The other chicken, Kurt Van Beek, the owner of the Outlaws. I can't believe he's going to do it, but here we go. Cody Yarrick, Rich Hill, Missouri, gone. Oh, man. Pulls back on the throttle, coasts the sled past the Schaefer oil barrel.
Man, oh man, fans, let's give him a nice round of applause. You're
on fire. But if he doesn't see a red flag, he's not going to stop.
So this is for the championship, 2024 Outlaw Championship right here. Right now they're all chasing Ray Miller. Another bad decision. That Bucket T, he's out front, way out front here. 342 and 86, but like you say, kind of a race within a race here.
That's right. Got to love the stance on this old pickup, too. Looking down track at him here. Got the rear end up in the air there, the front end down low. Got those long, zoomy headers. A Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi under that steel. Willie sheet metal. Adam Kester prepared Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi.
So once again, two-wheel drives working over here, left of center. Saw the Pro Stock tractors. That was pretty much where most of them ran over there. And these two-wheelers have kind of picked right up in that same spot.
342.86, the mark to beat. Out in Neosho, Missouri, Richard Morris, Buffalo's Chips.
Current points leader, 2024 points leader, 2022 points champion. This guy won the entire circuit 2 years ago, and he's leading the circuit right now. All this information available on the Outlaw Pulling app. Be sure to check out that Outlaw Pulling app. Holds a listen to this, Sac City. Richard Morris back into the line right now out of Neosho, Missouri. Calls this one Buffalo's Chips. He holds a 2-point lead over Donald Nelson. Donald Nelson hasn't hooked the truck yet that's got that lead, but Donald Nelson is sitting out there in the number one spot. Donald Nelson will be joining us with the Whippet in a little bit. Only 2 points separate Donald and Richard. Current points leader, Buffalo's Chips. Hear you, Sac City! Wow!
Missouri, Buffalo's Chips.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, Outlawed Live. We got Mike Idle over here standing by, myself, Ron Stone. It's a 2 for Tuesday tonight. Actually, 2 for Tuesday, I think.
Two-wheel drive Tuesday. Two-wheeler Tuesday. Ron, I have a new assessment for Outlawed Live. I believe we could just play nothing but Richard Morris highlight clips for the first half hour, and it would be one of the most viewed shows that we would have. Boy, he provides some awesome passes down the track, doesn't he?
I hear you. I mean, look at this picture right here. We used an advertisement there. It looks to me like the truck is actually angry in that picture to me, Mike. I mean, when you look at it, the front tires are spinning as fast as the back tires, and lots of blow-by coming out of the engine as he's putting it through its paces there. But the Buffalo's chips there definitely looks like it has a chip on its shoulder.
There is no better match made in heaven between the stance of that truck and the way that the driver drives it. I mean, they just reflect the personality. Richard's driving style is obvious in just the way that truck, approaches angrily down the track every time.
Yeah, he's there's a few drivers out there like Richard Morris. I know Scott Bracken with Missouri State. He pulls with Outlaw some.
Oh yeah,
kind of similar driving styles that unless they themselves are actually on fire, the truck could be on fire and rod's hanging out of the motor. But as long as it's moving forward, that right hand will not come backwards until it stops or until they see a red flag. I'm pretty certain of that watching these two guys over the years. But yeah, Richard Morris is a pretty tough customer in the seat of that Willys pickup. So we're getting some comments here already, Mike. I'm gonna stay ahead of them this week.
There we go.
Jeremy Kurtzadina, nice seeing you guys in on Facebook. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. Have a good Christmas and a happy New Year. See you guys next year's at the awesome.
Perfect.
We'll see you out there,
Well
Jeremy.
said. Well said.
So we got Richard Morris coming on tonight, like I said, and this week, starting yesterday, started seeing some of those Louisville announcements for the National Farm Machinery Show.
And I saw on the Miles Beyond 300, of course, Miles Krieger releases his blog that he puts out where he predicts who he will see in the big dance in February. And right towards the top of the list was Richard Morris, who I believe is going to be joining us later on tonight, as you said. So fingers crossed, some letters are trickling in. If there ever was a guy who's deserving, we'd love to see him representing the Outlaws out there in Louisville, Kentucky.
You're getting closer.
Every time it's an opportunity. It's Louisville. It's Louisville to me, but I'm gonna get it figured out.
Speaking of two-wheel drives, Andrew Sprock checking in, saying hey.
Absolutely.
The Sprock pulling team there. They're two-wheel drive guys. Got a couple two-wheel drives there coming out of the.
Andrew, did you guys apply for Louisville, and have you heard anything back? Is that something that's ever on your radar?
He's typing right now. He's furiously typing. So
I can believe it. Let us know in the comments.
So we'll get Richard on here directly. I told him about 7:15-ish.
Perfect.
And we'll leave a little bit of time for when the smoke clears tonight, Mike.
We'll be looking at Luke Renner in that one. So it really is a two-wheel drive Tuesday. So, a couple of points champions we'll be examining. And that's what I thought. Andrew, I thought I'd seen somewhere that this was on your radar. So they applied, but haven't heard back yet. Ron, can you imagine being a puller right now, sitting by your mailbox day in, day out, watching these come up on Facebook, knowing the letters have been sent, and you're just sitting there, big letter, little letter, big letter, little letter. What am I going to get? Yeah. They've got to be in knots waiting for this stuff.
Yeah, one's good, one ain't not so good. So some curveballs in there already, some not necessarily from the Outlaws, but I've seen a couple rejection letters that I wasn't expecting out there.
I'm sure we're thinking of the same, maybe couple or one out there, but some interesting things. But such is the world of competition, sports, motorsports, notwithstanding, and that's why we watch.
Yeah, I know the Skeltons. They were the champions last year, and they got rejected, and I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know the formula that National Farm Machinery Show tractor pull uses to. I know it usually has something to do with where they finish in points with their respective organization. But,
definitely, and how often they'd been out and big wins, but a precedent that had kind of been there, and I think some people on the internet have talked about it. It almost seemed, I don't think this was ever formally written down, but if you grabbed a win at Louisville year prior, that was almost that, or at least that was a grain that tipped the scale very heavily towards your favor. So I think some people were surprised to see a previous year winner, not be given not have the opportunity to repeat. But we don't know what gets said in that room, and they've got that figures it out, and that's why we watch. Yeah,
there's I think it was maybe last week I talked about having a pull in Kansas in 2025. A couple more changes that I've been working on, and might step foot into the state of the land of Lincoln in 2025.
Another good area, Oh, what a big leap that would be for the Outlaws too. We're kind of known as the west of the river guys, our side of the river. Always heard, we talked to Dave Bennett a few weeks ago, and he would always talk about our side of the river. That was an expression he would use. Well, it would always kind of be neat to get on their side of the river. So to go over into the Illini state, that could make for some interesting pulling,
A lot of good pullers and pretty heavily populated with pullers in Illinois too. A lot of history of pulling in that state.
No doubt about it.
The ITPA actually older than the NTPA by 1 year.
Did not know that. So they would have been 1968 would have been around the year that they were established in, I would guess.
Well, and those guys, I thought we ran our guys pretty hard. Their guys, some of their classes in ITPA are up over 30 hooks a season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But state level and regional level classes. but sometimes you have to keep in mind, you can do kind of a there and back. You're not always doing a 6, 7, 8 hour drive, 9 hour drive when you're doing those state level classes. But yeah, they're going to put them through the gamut, no doubt about it.
The Parade Alley Lounge is sup, Ron and Trooper Mikey.
No mustache.
Sipping round 2 of some George Dickel 15-year-old single barrel bourbon whiskey. It says tasty. Gives me the chills just thinking about it.
There were so many adjectives behind the alcohol right there. I just like cold beer and another beer. Like that's all. You lost me. That's a lot I'd have a hard time typing all that out, let alone trying to drink it.
Andrew Sprock says ITPA started in a garage too, I believe. A lot of good things start in somebody's garage. Yeah.
Crazy ideas with a couple of buddies and people with a vision and folks that believe in it. That's all it takes.
Yeah, Tammy Morris. I'm sure she's getting Richard ready for the interview here. He's probably still in makeup right now. They might be there till 7:45 or so, though, working on Richard. So
sometimes you just have to run what you brung and just hope it's pretty enough.
I don't know who this is, but they said, "What is this?" So. This is a show about pulling. Join in.
Yep.
So yeah, we I think we're going to be in Illinois. I'm about 99.9% sure, Mike. I'm not going to say where yet.
Sure.
And possibly a new one in Eastern Iowa to go along with that Illinois hook that weekend within a couple hours. So
sure.
I think the stars may line up for us, and we may cross the big river. Not that the Outlaws haven't done that in the past, and we actually pulled in Ohio, in Hillsboro, Ohio.
I saw that. We were talking before we got on the show here about previous programs, and one of my favorite things to do is to go back through and look at the old programs. And I saw one year, and of course we had our standard hooks in Nebraska and Kansas or Oklahoma, and then all of a sudden there was this outlier in Ohio towards the back half of the season. I said, man, that is interesting. But
and that was Jeff Parker. That was his.
He's got the
5.0.
He's got a 5.0 pro stock pulled. Is that right? And I think he showed up in Bedford, Iowa, late in the season this year. And man, I think he ended up getting second place behind Cody York. He has a hard running John Deere, if I remember right.
Yeah, he came in. I think he made a couple of hooks last season or 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then those things have picked up a little bit here towards the end of last 2023 and in 2024. He works a lot, and he likes pulling the Outlaws, but that's a pretty good trip from Ohio to, I think he's just east and maybe north of Cincinnati area where he's from.
Well, love it when people come and hook with us from all over the place. And Ron, you're talking about east, getting towards Eastern Iowa and Illinois. I like east. East is a little handier for my geographical location here. So
Zook Fukerberg watching from the motherland of Germany. No, I'm kidding. He's watching from Texas. He'll be hosting a a new pull for us for 2025 down in Lindsay, Texas. They'll be taking Whitewright weekend. So those folks going to Whitewright, instead of going to Whitewright that weekend and turning and going east, and you turn and go west and go out to Lindsay. I think they're only about an hour and a half apart. So
the Outlaw schedule, when it does release, is one of the most common questions I get. And folks, it does not get cemented till like March, April, May. It's just one of those things that takes time. But Ron, we're talking about having some big talking points on the 2025 schedule. Looks like some interesting aspects, and fans like that. They like new and they like different, and so this is going to be very intriguing. I'm excited.
Yeah, May is the cutoff point for us as far as booking points classes. A particular promoter can add a class after May 15th, but it won't be a points hook. We want to give our pullers and their families time to make vacation plans and things like that for the summer. Yep. And we don't want to spring a pull on them in late May, right before the season starts. Hey, you got to go here on that particular weekend. Yep. So, yeah, the cutoff is May on points hooks anyway. Parade Alley Lounge, Ron, I'm looking forward to hearing some good stories from PRI after this weekend. Of course, PRI, Performance Racing Industry. If you've never been and you're a gearhead, you will walk holes in the soles of your shoes walking around looking at all the cool stuff, and you will not see everything that is there.
You're there, aren't you? Aren't you? Are you there, or are you getting ready to be there?
Yeah, no, I'm not there. I'll be there Thursday night, and I'll be there all day Friday, all day Saturday. I actually have an interview with I think Dan Mayer is going to be interviewing me in the Full Pull Live booth there.
Absolutely.
And Outlaws will be set up there as well as Beer Money and Coltrane Energy in that booth there. I think it's 8127. Does that sound right, Mike?
Yep, 8127. That's where the boss man was setting up. Now, is Full Pull going to be there as well, or do they have their own booth? Or it's
I'm not sure. I assume
a lot of our people, for those who don't know behind the scene, a lot of our people, there's some intermingling and whatnot. So that there's kind of a handful of irons in the fire, but we all cross paths. So Beer Money Pulling Team, Outlaws. Like you said, Dan Mayer is going to be there. A lot of good stuff. That will be an interview worth listening to. Dan Mayer, Ron Stone, the two best voices, without a doubt, in pulling. Fans, tune in for that one. You're going to enjoy listening to that.
Yeah, I think they've got some people a little more famous than me that's going to be interviewed over the weekend too. They actually have some NHRA stars they're going to interview. I'm not going to reveal who. Is going to be there yet. I don't want to, let that cat out of the bag.
Sure.
So, but it's such a cool event. If you're a gearhead, man, it's just, wow. I went there in 2019 and I literally never made it into the stadium part of the show. In the convention center, was all over, still didn't see everything that was in the convention center, and never even made it into the football stadium part. And I was worn out. There's so much to see, and you can't help but stop and oogle at things. Some of the parts and things that these companies are coming out with, and that's right up my alley. So
when you go to something like that, Ron, just for your personal experience, are you more drawn to maybe some of the history and the icons, or the new technology of actually progressing racing and performance? Are you more likely to stop at a booth that has a famous monster truck driver, or a booth that's got brand new, mechanical technology in it?
Maybe both. I think there's a little bit. There's stuff there for everyone. I love the new and innovative new parts and things. And when I was a kid, Mike, that's what I did in study hall, and probably during class sometimes when I shouldn't have been, was I was designing parts, stuff that made sense in my head that would work. And honestly, a couple of the things that I drew out on paper came to fruition, not by my means. But you remember the split fire spark plugs that came out? I designed a spark plug so similar to that when I was a sophomore in high school on paper. I still have those drawings, and I had ideas I drew up for different engines and water-cooled superchargers, and now they're intercooled. They call them intercooled superchargers and things like that.
I changed I changed the spark plugs in my Toyota Camry the other day for the first time. Does that put us somewhat on the same level?
There you go, buddy. You're right
I kind
there.
of know how to do that now. So
Hey, some of those spark plugs on the newer cars are no fun. No fun at all.
These came out. I held my breath because I've had the 5.4 Triton before, and I hear horror stories about those. But the ones in the 2.4 Camry came right out. It was a breeze.
Yeah, some of them are when you look on the internet, because you haven't changed the spark plugs on some vehicles, and it says something about taking this motor mount bolt out and tilting the engine so many degrees. It's like, oh brother, to change the spark plugs, kind of crazy. Andrew Sprock, am I going to sing nationally? I don't know.
That's a great question.
I haven't talked to anybody about that. Last year, somebody reached out to me, and I think I did one session last year. But if they ask me to, I definitely will.
Yep.
Where's this going to be? I'm assuming he's talking about PRI, Indianapolis, Indiana. I think it's the convention center where the Colts play, the Lucas Oil Stadium there. I think does it start Thursday, Mike? It actually starts Thursday?
I assumed you were already there. I assumed that we were getting going even sooner. So, Thursday works for me if it works for you.
Let's look here.
Yeah. And I do want to say, I saw Tammy Morris commented earlier, and so Tammy and Richard, if you guys are watching, by all means, you can sign on at any point. I ran into a comparable issue with Corey Schluter, where I rambled, and he wasn't in the back room, and I kept rambling, and he wasn't in the back room. And then I said, well, I guess we didn't make adjustments. Corey didn't show up tonight, and he popped on, and he said, well, I was watching, just waiting for you to say it was time for me to come on. So if you are watching, go ahead and click the button and join at any time. Don't be misled by some of the technology there.
Yeah, one thing I think that does the first time I did Let's Go Pulling before we started this show was when you're backstage, you click a button that says join the show. And when you see that, you're like, should I join the show? Or am I gonna pop on the screen? So when you say join the show, it doesn't actually put you on screen. We have to do that.
We'll control that. Yep. So
basically, when you click on that, Mike and I can see you, but the people at home cannot see you till we bring you on. So,
and Tammy's commenting over here and saying he's on. So
he's on. But
join there. Look at this. Walking right through it in live time.
Yeah, James Graham. It is the 12th through the 14th, so it is Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the PRI show. Michael Perry, hello from Missouri. And Ben Beller, evening from Howard, Kansas, looking like to be headed to National Farm Machinery Show. Pull to watch Wednesday and Thursday. Awesome, Ben. If you see us there, come say hi.
Absolutely.
And then Tammy Morris saying, he's on now.
We'll have our booth as well, Ron. So if you are a puller, come by. We'll do interviews, and we'll be doing just the same thing we did last year. But it looks like Richard's ready to rock and roll in the staging area back there.
Yeah, let's play a little video for him first here.
I like it.
On fire. But if he doesn't see a red flag, he's not going to stop.
So this is for the championship, 2024 Outlaw Championship right here. Right now they're all chasing Ray Miller. Another bad decision. That Bucket T, he's out front, way out front here. 342 and 86, but like you say, kind of a race within a race here.
That's right. Got to love the stance on this old pickup, too. Looking down track at him here. Got the rear end up in the air there, the front end down low. Got those long, zoomy headers. Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi under that steel. Willie sheet metal. Adam Kester prepared Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi.
So once again, two-wheel drives working over here, left of center. Saw the Pro Stock tractors. That was pretty much where most of them ran over there. And these two-wheelers have kind of picked right up in that same spot.
342.86 the mark to beat. Out in Neosho, Missouri, Richard Morris, Buffalo's Chips.
course, that was the one that sealed the deal for Richard Morris, our next guest, 2024 Outlaw. Super modified two-wheel drive champion. Richard, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good,
Doing
man.
really
Doing
well.
good. Doing good. Hey, we watching that pull, and we did some figuring here. We had our mathematicians watch all your pulls from this year, and your average pull was about 312 feet, but the front tires only rolled on the ground for about 6 feet each pull. Richard,
Per pull or total?
Well, that's the way we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good pictures of your pickup with this stance right here throughout the season. So, and this one here, we were talking early. That thing just looks angry, Richard. When you look at that picture, that's an awesome picture right there. That truck. You can tell the motor is screaming right there, and all 4 tires are spinning like crazy. That's an awesome picture. But a lot of people ask, Richard, we get this question all the time: how did you get the name Buffalo Chips?
Well, I bought the truck from Bob Martin and his daughter, Terry. His nickname was Buffalo, and she's the one that named it. And Bob liked to gamble a little bit, so it took a lot of chips to make it go on. So that's how the name Buffalo Chips got it.
So that was supposed to be his gambling proceeds, was going to the pulling truck. Is that right?
Well, I don't know if the gambling or the truck cost more, but one of the two or both.
So, and what is the year of the truck? I know sometimes I forget things, and I'll just throw out a 40-some number, but
That's a 46. They made that body.
Right.
They made that body style from 42 to 57, I believe.
And that is an all steel body, right?
That is an all steel body.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm a welder. I don't like fiberglass.
So this is your second championship, right?
Yep.
You won it in 2022.
Yep.
It gave the rest of the field a break in 2023, then come back roaring back as a champion in 2024. What's the secret to winning an Outlaw championship at two-wheel drive class?
Well, it's a coin toss, guys. You know that. I mean, anybody can win. I mean, it really is. It's just luck. I mean, that's just pure luck. You just got to stay after it too.
The Outlaw super modified two-wheel drive trucks, the Outlaws are kind of known. We've been talking about Louisville, and the 3 major associations get together, and it's a chance to kind of put your best foot forward. The Outlaws are kind of the two-wheel country. We're kind of known as the best of the best in the two-wheel drive world. Does it mean a little extra to be competing against other legends like yourself, like Don Nelson and like Ray Miller and Cameron Neves and et cetera, to come out on top when you're working with these great competitors all season long?
Well, without them, I couldn't have won, because then I'd been pulling against nobody. So, I mean, it takes all of us. It does. It takes all of us. And that's the fun part about it, that, everybody's in it. Everybody's trying to win, trying to put your best foot forward. And that's what makes it fun.
And there's no better motivational tool motivator than getting beat. Am I right? I mean, that makes you want to win that much more when you get beat by somebody. So you guys just keep trying to one up each other, and it really makes for good competition.
Yeah, and our motors and our vehicles have come around the last 4 or 5 years to where the point that, I mean, like I said, it's a coin toss. Whoever can win, but you just got to play your game. You got to stay after it, be tenacious about it, and go on.
I want to talk about your awesome motor that you have, because it's got Ron talks about it from up in the announcer's booth. And when you're running that starting line camera, you can feel it. The sound coming out of those headers, the zoomy headers, as Ron calls them, is just a high pitched aggression all its own. Is it just the headers themselves that make for such a unique sound on that motor, or do you have something secret under there that you're hiding from everybody?
No, it's just the headers. It's just because they have so many bends in it, the sound gets all balled up, and when it finally comes out, it's just stupid loud. It really is.
Does that make for extra? Sorry, Ron.
That's all right.
Does that make for extra? Something people have been exploring in the world of pulling, I've been seeing, is legitimately trying to position your headers in a specific location to create extra downforce and extra down pressure. With yours sitting real low like that, do you notice that it helps keep that front end down a little less, which is kind of crazy because you like that front end up in the air, but does that make a difference at all?
I don't think it makes any difference. I do know it makes a difference on a mod when you got them pointed both to the right. That mod will go to the left. But no, I don't see it makes any difference. I really don't.
Well, I know it'll blow the hat off your head if you're in the announcer stand at Unionville. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It will do that for sure.
And
It'll blow the hat off your
bring
head
down.
and you get that warm burst of hot air hits you in the face and your hat goes flying. It's like, wow. But
Yeah, brought down the roof at Wayne, bro. I remember we started getting rained on because we started losing loose pieces of insulation or whatnot. It had such a growl to it, we were getting rained on. So you make your mark when you go down the track, Richard.
Well, it's got a new set on it right now, and they're just a little different, but they ought to be just as nasty noisy as the others.
Yeah, the longer tube now, you know, traditional thinking is a longer tube supposed to make a little bit more torque. I don't know if that makes any difference on a supercharged motor at, you know, high RPM, but it is a unique sound for sure. Doug Bowe says, congratulations, Richard, on your championship. Lori Bauer says, congratulations. Marty Samuelson, the mayor of Ravenna, says, congrats. And Derek Brown says, proud of you and Tammy. Derek and Summer there.
Well, thanks to everybody. I mean, we have fun all summer long, and that's what it's all about. It's all, like I always said, when your helmet's on your competitors, when your helmet's off your family, and that's why I try to keep it.
Well, yeah, you guys have one of the most popular spots in the pit area after the pull's over.
Oh,
Richard.
yeah.
Well, it's usually too hot to eat before you pull, and I don't like to eat before I pull anyway, so might as well just have beers and eats afterwards, you know. Let everybody come over. I mean, we don't have enough, we'll find enough. Let's put it that way.
I've gotten there a little too late a few times and been like, dang it, and didn't have anything left. But yeah, a lot of people head over to you guys' pit area after the pull. Andrew Sprock says, congratulations, Richard and Tammy. Looking forward to some more cookouts next summer.
We've had quite a few, and we'll have a lot more.
So one thing about your truck that I love is it's not cookie cutter. It's not. I love the old bodies. I love the old Chevys, the old Fords, the old Studebakers, the unique stuff, you know. And you know, not only is yours not fiberglass, the steel body, you know, you tend to, you know, everybody's trying to get that going to that nth degree in competition, you know, where they're worried about 20 pounds here, 30 pounds there, and you go with a fiberglass T-bucket, and we see this a lot, but it kind of breaks up the monotony of the cookie cutter look when you bring in a 46 Willys, you know, in between some of those. So I love that. I love seeing the classic sheet metal. This is
I swear too, Ron, that it sits up the stance of this truck. You know, Richard, you're known for getting that front end up in the air, but I swear to God, you've got to bring the thing 3 feet just to get to where you could see level out of the windshield. I swear you've got such an aggressive downward stance in that truck too. So it's a fan favorite. You know, the fans walk around, love it. Do you get a lot of fans in the pits coming around wanting to take pictures just because it is so unique and so different?
Yeah, I have a lot of the older guys, you know, my age and a little younger. They like to look at it and look it over, and they're sometimes pretty amazed that it's still steel and not fiberglass. You know, I'm a welder. I don't like it's going to have fiberglass in it, but you know, for a little body putty. But as far as the whole thing, it's got to be steel. I mean, that's just the way I am.
That's the first time you pulled it, Laura.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember right. Probably 4, 5, 6 years ago, Chris Bauer come up there to Rock Valley, and I hooked onto him that night. Tam and I was having a little discussion, and I messed up putting the weights on her truck. So I told her, I said, you weight mine. Yeah, I watched her weight it. She put about 600 pounds on the back. And I knew where this was going, but I told her, I said, no big deal. I stood it up so high. Chris come to me after the pull, and he goes, you know, he said, when I can see the blower over the top of your cab, you're way too high. I said, yeah, that wasn't my doing. That was Tam. So there you go.
Tammy moved 600 pounds to the other end of that truck?
Yep.
You've got the smaller weights though in the front, though, right? They were 100-pounders.
Well, some of them are 100-pounders.
Some were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manuel Marino. Hey to Manuel Marino out there from Texas, legendary four-wheel drive puller. Thanks for watching tonight.
The Yellow Rose of Texas, one of my favorites.
Get back into it, Mike. I'd love to see him get back in the.
I would too. Nothing would make me happier than to see the yellow. I feel like they kicked around the idea, but they've said somewhere that they've just examined it and they said it'd just be a lot. It's a big pond to jump back into, but we'd love to see him out again.
Yeah, I will let that little cat out of the bag. The body's getting a major workover. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, its body's getting a major workover.
Yep, it's getting a new paint job. It's in Iowa right now. Yep, it's in Iowa and Kevin's, and he's thrashing on that critter. So, yeah.
You got to give us a little more. Can the fans expect the same color, or is this?
Oh yeah, there's only one color in this world, and that's black. That's it. That's it.
With the Intimidator 3 down on the front right of it too.
There you go. Yeah, and the Chevrolet emblem won't say Hemi either; it'll say Hemi. So.
Yeah. Now, speaking of your engine, now that is a Minor Brothers Racing Hemi. Prepared by Adam Kester. How does that engine fare throughout a whole season? And we run you guys pretty hard all season long. Does that engine stand up to the rigors of Outlaw pulling throughout the entire season, or do you have to get freshened up at any point during the season?
It's pretty good. It usually don't have to worry about it until you get in the 23, 24, 25 pull range. That's when you start getting nervous about the rods. Right. That's the weak point in them. But other than that, no, we had no issues this year with the engines. I mean, just none whatsoever. And I have to put part of that to Schaefer oil, because I'm telling you what, guys, that is worth its weight in gold. When you check the filter and you've run it hard all season and the last 2 or 3 runs, and there's nothing in the filter, I mean, absolutely nothing, that's a testament to the oil right there. And I got to thank Dave for getting me on that. And yeah.
Got the hook on the Schaefer's oil.
I pretty much got Schaefer's and just about everything I own now.
That's a story that I enjoy hearing from Dave when he worked in an engine shop and they built a lot of roundy round motors, and guys started using Schaefer oil and they started tearing them down, and the bearings after 30 races, the bearings looked like they were brand new. He said, the owner of the shop said, well, I don't know if we should tell anybody about this oil or not. We won't have hardly anything to build in the off season.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a little story that he told me. He went to Caterpillar years ago up in Des Moines and had a buddy, and they took his oil and they come back about a month later. They called him, said, if you come by, he said, well, we need to talk. So he went by, he was trying to get, sales. Yeah. And they flat told him, if we use this oil, we'll never sell another part whatsoever. This stuff's too good.
Yeah.
And when Kevin put it in his Harley, and a flat tappet camshaft and a transmission that's whining like an old sow underneath a gate, he put it in there, and they went to one of the bars up there one Saturday afternoon to have a burger and a drink, and Lori asked him, said, what is wrong with this motorcycle? Kevin goes, what do you mean? Says, what's wrong with it? She said, it's way too quiet. It has never been this quiet. What'd you do to it? So that's a pretty good testament right there.
Tim Dunclaw says, congratulations, Richard.
Well, thanks to everybody that congratulate me. I mean, it was a long summer. I not only had mine, I had 2 more motors to deal with, but it kept me on my toes, and it was a good time.
Well, you're talking about Vern, right?
About that
I'm talking about Vern.
Vern, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about Vern.
Ben Beller has a good question we're going to ask you here. Now, first, Warren Boyson says, congratulations. Love you guys. And Ben Beller, I heard through the grapevine that Vern Huser, our very own Vern Huser, got his letter to go to Louisville.
Yep. He called me today, and well, actually, I called him, and he said, "Hey," he said, "I just got my letter. Did you get your letter yet?" And I said, "No. It'll be 2 or 3 days. You know, our efficient postal service is not that great, so you know."
No comment.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I was really shocked, and now he really put me to work. I mean, now I got to do double time on stuff. So, but that's all right. I mean, I enjoy it. I really do.
Well, let us know when you find out.
His tractor is probably easier to set up than my truck is. Let's put it honestly.
That's interesting. This is our first, on the show, our first Outlaw that we're publicly discussing being in at the National Farm Machinery Show. So Vern Huser has been accepted. Is that what we're announcing right here?
Yep, he has.
That is exciting. Is he going to run a third engine on that when he goes out there?
Yep, there'll be 3 on there.
Oh boy, that's a big deal. It's been a while since the Outlaws have sent. I'm assuming, hopefully, we'll send a couple of mods out there. This will be the first time that we potentially accept more than one. So that's big news, and you'll be waiting anxiously by your mailbox, and hopefully you've got the whole loaded semi going out there, Richard.
Yeah, it'll be full. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Will you guys be tailgating after the pull in the parking lot at Louisville?
Well, sure. You bet.
It's kind of chilly.
Well, you never can tell about Louisville weather. It can be 70 degrees or it can be 20 degrees with the wind blowing 20 mile an hour.
Yeah,
that's true. I've stood in the back of a hauler with my teeth chattering and no gloves and a cold beer in my hand for a couple hours just talking, pulling.
Yeah. Well, that's what they made koozies for. That keeps your hand warm.
Well, I need a Buffalo's Chips koozie. So.
Well, I have to get some of those.
So Dustin Corliss says congratulations. Then here we got another one of these fans that just pop on, come out of nowhere. I'm assuming out of like China or North Korea or something like that. So we won't give them the screen time. But so yeah, who throughout the season, who do you see as the biggest competition? It's a tough question in this class, but who do you see as the biggest competition in this class?
Man, all of them. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you, it's a coin toss, guys. It's just luck of the draw sometimes. I mean, that's all it is.
I
mean, I've had years where I could, my numbers just burnt me every time. And then like 2 years ago, I couldn't pick a bad number. I mean, all the numbers fell into place. This year, yeah, some of them did, some of them didn't. And I mean, Rock Valley, I had issues with ignition, and boy, I couldn't figure that deal out. But I got it figured out pretty quick because there was 4 pieces that come off that motor, and 4 other ones went back on, and it finally run again. But yeah, because Saturday night I put it in a gear the small block Chevrolet would have pulled it, and it fell on its face, And I'm going, something ain't right on this deal.
Nothing against small block Chevrolet, but just doesn't make the power that a mine brother Timmy.
Yeah, Ron, don't hurt Ron. Ron's a big fan of the small block Chevy. That's what he pulled with. So
Well, that's what I started with. 383 stroker motor. I mean, you can't beat them. I mean, they just run and run and run. Yeah. It wouldn't turn no RPMs because it didn't have no valve springs. But other than that, I mean, you couldn't kill the little thing. Yep. You come out at 72. You went down the track at 72, and you ended up at 72. I mean, that's all it did. But
that was your mechanical rev limiter right there.
There you go. Yeah, that's all it turned. I mean, that's what it would do. But that was them was fun days too. But this is a little bit more exciting. I mean, this will really get your heart pumping. And everybody asks me, said, "Do you get nervous?" I don't get nervous till I put my helmet on. And once I till I put my neck brace on. Yeah. Well, by then it's over. I mean, bury the throttle, let's go. I mean, it's almost over with. So now I don't get as uptight as I used to, but I get more uptight when Vern pulls than I do. If that makes sense.
I've tried to explain to people that sensation when you back up to the sled and they tell you to stop, and you're waiting and you feel that hook hit that hitch on your truck. It's just something. It's a weird feeling when you feel that, and then you pull forward and take slack out of that chain. That's for me. That's when I kind of would. It was an exciting nervousness that would hit me when both those things would happen. You feel that big old hook hit. You hit the end of that chain.
That's sometimes when your heart gets in your throat right there. I mean, it really is. But yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's all good.
Is there a pull? Is there a pull that means, you know, more to you, or a favorite place you like to hook? Is there anywhere that you go and that heart gets in the throat even a little bit more because you love pulling there because it's such a big deal? Do you have any special spots that you really like to get to across the summer?
I really don't. I mean, they're all wonderful. I mean, they're all good venues. I mean, it's a sad deal that White Right has went away because we really enjoyed it because we always went down a few days early, you know, and relaxed and you know, that was that's kind of like a mini vacation. But no, there's no one special. They're all special to me. I mean, I'm just glad I can go. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's good answer.
They're all good.
Yep.
Do you have T-shirts, Buffalo's Chips T-shirts available?
Yep, I got a few left. I need to restock a little bit because the stock's getting pretty low. But I got a whole bunch of small. I usually give them to kids, just pitch them to kids, let them have them, you know.
Ben Beller's a big Outlaw fan. He lives down in Texas, and he says he's going to Louisville. Says if you get in at Louisville, and we think you're going to get in, let's just put it that way. But he says to stock up. He wants a T-shirt, and I bet you could sell some more than just one down there.
Yeah. They really don't like you to sell them down there, but we can sneak him one or two.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anybody you want to thank, Richard? I know one person you're going to thank there that she's standing there coaching you.
Yeah, we can hear her in the background.
Yeah, I want to thank my wife, Tammy. And let's put it this way. If you mention pull, you best not be standing in front of the door because she is going to run over you to get out the door to go to that pull. I don't care where it's at or what's happening. That's just the way it is. Yeah.
You mentioned pull, and she's packing
best wife a guy could ever have. Yeah. No, forget the suitcase. She got her purse and she's going out the door. It don't matter. It don't matter. But thank my wife, Tammy. I want to thank Kevin Barrett for teaching me for dirt. That's helped a lot building tracks and learning about the different styles of dirt that we pull on. That's amazing. That's huge.
Yeah.
I want to thank Dave Neville, Schaefer Oil, a good friend of ours and a real nice guy. And I also like to thank Adam Bauer. A couple years ago, let's see, I'm going to say it 4 years ago, I hurt a motor real bad. Well, the last one down there at Lufkin punched a hole in the side, broke a rod. Well, I didn't know it broke the crankshaft. Excuse me. I didn't know it broke the crankshaft. And about 2 weeks later, he calls me and he goes, hey, he said, got a problem with this motor. I said, what's the matter? And he said, well, the front part of the crank fell out on the ground. The second part of the crank took an 8-foot cheater pipe to pry it out.
Ooh.
And I said, well, what's wrong? And he said, number 2 and 3 main is pushed backwards about 5/16 to 3/8 of an inch. It's rolled backwards because of counterweights, because everything got crossed up in there.
Yeah.
He said, what do you want to do? I said, well, put your blocks between 4 and 5. I said, put your blocks between 4 and 3 and put your porter power in there and shove 3 forward and do the same to 2 and shove it forward. And he said, are you crazy? And I said, probably.
Yeah.
I said, shove them forward, weld on both sides. I said, you're either going to put tension in or tension out. But if you weld both sides, it'll relax itself. Go back in the CNC line, board, go. He did. About a month later, he called me and he goes, I just set the crank in here. And he said, it spins over just like a top. And I said, it'll be fine. Adam, this thing ain't nothing but a beer can. It's made to be repaired and go again. I said, there's no use throwing it away.
Yeah.
I said, if it's ugly on the outside, I don't care. As long as it works on the inside, that's all that matters. Because I said, we're going to punish these things. And like Jim Collins told me years ago, he said, remember one thing, he said, that's an alcohol bomb in front of you. It is going to blow up. You just don't know when. He's right about that.
Yeah. No kidding.
So as long as you stay with it, just keep on going and have fun. That's all it's all about.
Keep on keeping on. Michael Compton says he remembers you had a really wild ride at Nebraska State Fair one year.
Yes, I did. That track was that was the year that Goodwin got Des Moines too wet. So when he got to Nebraska State Fair, they give him a little Cushman with a water tank so it couldn't overwater. Well, it was stupid hot. I mean, stupid hot. Well, the track was bad. It was good. It was medium. It was junk. Good, medium, junk. It was like that all the way down through there. And I stood that truck way up in the air on the good part. And when she come down, I buried the weights in the dirt. I did that twice that night. I had the rear tires. The only thing to keep me from flying was a hook in the hitch because I had the rear tires 10 inches off the ground both times. Yeah, I got to have a free ride to the hospital there because what it did was my harness just folded me over and pushed all the air out. And I likely not got my air back. And when they was loading me in the ambulance, I still hadn't took a breath yet. And they wondered, well, what's wrong with you? And I said, I can't breathe. It just squeezed me out. Yeah. So other than that, that was a wild ride. That was one of the wild rides. Yeah, I had purple lines down my chest for about 2 weeks out of that deal. But didn't hurt. Yeah. Went to the hospital. Guy was going to cut my fire suit off of me. And I said, no, lady, put them scissors up. We're going to have a fight. And about that time, Tam was coming in the front door, and about that time, the fire alarm went off. So it closed the front doors, and she thought, oh, my God, Richard's killing somebody in there because they won't let him out.
Locking it down.
Yeah. Doctor finally come in, and he said, you need any medication? I said, I got liquid medication back at the trailer, and that's where I'm headed. I'm out of here. Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, Richard, congratulations. Hope you get that letter here real soon this week. Let us know when you get that letter. And
I will.
Congratulations on an awesome season. And tell Tammy we said hi to.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ron. Well, thank you, Mike. Mike come up to me at Sac City and he goes, "Would you do an interview?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do an interview." That's kind of a good thing. When you asked me down there at White Ride, I got to apologize to you. When you asked me down there at White Ride, I was just trying to drive around and get cooled off because I was about to burn up.
No worries.
Yeah. No, thank you guys. And thank everybody for the congratulations. I mean, it was a long summer, but what summer ain't long anymore when you're pulling 19, 20 hooks,
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Richard. We're all itching to see that new paint job.
Well, it will be state of the art. Let's put it that way. It will be no stone unturned on that one. Trust me.
That's awesome.
Last week I took it up there, and I know Kevin one night ground about probably 2 gallons of Bondo out of there, and there's probably going to be about 3 or 4 gallons go back in. So, yeah.
Maybe he can use the lightweight Bondo this time and put another weight up front or something.
We use that old green hairy stuff. It weighs a lot. I mean, it's up there where the weight needs to be anyway, so it really don't matter.
Awesome. Richard, thanks so much for taking the time out, man. Congratulations on your.
Well, thank you guys. And you guys have a good evening. If I don't see you for Christmas and New Year's, have a good Christmas and New Year's.
Same to you. You guys take care. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Awesome. Ben
Boy,
Miller, I'm sorry. I said he was from Texas. He's from Kansas. I'm sorry, Ben. He's from
too much fun. I'm jotting down all the quotable moments we had right there. I mean, we got a screaming like a sow under a gate. I got liquid medication back at the trailer. I mean, Richard Morris is just, there's a reason everyone in the Outlaw family loves him. He's a good time, and he stands for everything that the Outlaws stand for. That was a fun interview, Ron.
That was awesome. So, wow, we went long too. We went almost all the way up to closing time here. But
sure.
Like we said when we started the show, Mike, it was a 2 for Tuesday. But we're going to stick with the 2-wheel drive theme, going from super modified to modified. So go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we'll go over to the modified When the Smoke Clears, our weekly feature. We're getting around to our just happens to be, you don't have to be a points champion to be on When the Smoke Clears. You just have to be an outlaw who loves pulling, but it just happens to be we have another points champion tonight. Our When the Smoke Clears feature driver is naturally aspirated two-wheel drive driver Luke Renner, picking up his championship this year in the Running Wild truck. We'll play his highlight video and then read his biography right back. A big thank you to Mackenzie Teeding and all of our friends over at Beer Money Pulling Team. I go out and find the drivers and kind of talk to them, but they build those videos every single week and have those waiting for us. And each one of those videos is just too cool for school, and we love watching them. So let's learn a little bit about Luke Renner right about now. He is Luke Renner. He drives the Running Wild naturally aspirated two-wheel drive truck, the modified two-wheel drive trucks, as we like to call them. It's a 1971 Chevy. He says he's been pulling for 11 years. He's been pulling since he was 16 years old. His first hook, now, Ron, he's going to contradict himself a little bit here. He might have been bending some rules somewhere, because even though he says he's been pulling since the legal age of 16, he said his first hook was he rats himself out. You know, I didn't add it. He just said it. His answer, he says, first hook, he goes, my first hook was in Stanton, Nebraska when I was 15 years old. So I think he tried to let everyone know, no, that's 16, but, you know, yeah, we won't tell if you won't tell. So
with another organization, you know, but.
And that's true. Yep. There are certain places that, have their own guidelines. He says his most memorable hook, and I'm assuming this came from this year, but he said his most memorable hook was in Madison, South Dakota. He said, when I won the class to win the points championship. So that's got to be this year when he wrapped up his points championship up there in Madison, South Dakota. His wildest ride was in 2016 in West Point, Nebraska. He says he was driving the old truck. He said, I overcorrected and I hit the guardrail. Got a little fancy on that left to right and went and said hello to the guardrail. Points championships. He has 5 with MATTPA. Now, he had a handwritten, so this is Mid-America Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. Yeah. I'm not familiar. So is this one that's based kind of Nebraska, Kansas? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's I'm not sure where they're based. Northeast Nebraska, Northwest Iowa. I think Northeast Nebraska. I've actually announced at shows where they had pullers there and such, but everything is pretty much Nebraska Bush or Heartland division of Outlaws now. But yeah, Mid America was one of the organizations.
Well, you can then see his progression right here. It's a really nice history. He's actually, Ron, he's got, of his 11 years pulling, he's got 8 points championships to his credit. So he pulled off 5 MATTPA points championships. Then he grabbed a championship with the Nebraska Bush Pullers. He has 1 with them. Then he says he's got 1 in the Outlaw Heartland division. And then, of course, he grabbed his national division championship this year. So that's kind of the history in itself is with Luke right there. So a lot of success in an early career. Says his biggest pulling hero is his dad. His best pulling advice, he says, go out and have fun. You don't always have to have the most power to win. His day-to-day real-life job, he is a utility lineman. Pulling goals. He wants to win more championships, and he wants to pull at Wisner. Now, I hear these modified truck guys talk about this a lot, that they always talk about Wisner. You know, I've heard this, that it's a place that they would just really love to participate in. So he'd love to be at Thunder by the river. So that'd be cool. Says the best part about being an outlaw. I loved his response here, and I couldn't wait to talk to you personally about it. His favorite part about being an outlaw, he says they're great events. They're always professional. He loves the live stream and he loves the media. So younger generational puller here really latching on to this idea of where we're trying to put it with the social media and the live stream. But then he brought out a point that I thought to myself, I said, you know what, he's right. And not many people have talked about this. He says, I love the big crowds. I honestly cannot think of many places I went this summer where I looked up in the grandstands and said, ooh, that looks kind of bare. Ooh, that doesn't look very full. We bring crowds. And you know what, Pullers, he told me one time, he says, I get really hyped on emotion. You know, when the announcer pumps you up or when that crowd's going nuts, he says, that's a big deal. You know, we as Pullers love that. So, you know, you don't want to pull in front of 10 fans. You want to pull in front of 2,000 fans. So he acknowledges that. And I thought that was just, Ron, I feel like we have good crowds. It's something we've got some
great crowds. The last few years, I just noticed, you know, since COVID, even, it seemed like people wanted to get out and, you know, with our social media presence and the live stream, you know, the Outlaw name is getting out there. I mean, you know, it was so telling, the Case IH contest. This year, entries from all 49 of 50 states. And the second prize winners, I think only one was from a state that we actually physically pull in. I mean, we had somebody from Michigan win, somebody from Kentucky win. You know, the big winner was from Minnesota. We currently don't have any pulls in Minnesota. So it just tells you that people are watching and they're seeing us on social media or both, including the live stream. So yeah, the Outlaw name is getting out there, and, you know, our shows speak for themselves. Like you said, the professionalism, the speed of our shows, you know, we try to get them done in a good amount of time. We don't dangerously get them done fast, but, you know, we want to prepare the track for every puller. But, you know, we have a pusher at most of our big events. We'll have a pusher in the staging area to get those drivers ready. So when they call them up there, you know, they're not, you know, putting on their fire suit or, you know, putting their helmet on or what have you. They're ready to go.
What I love about it, while we're on this topic, before we jump back over here to Luke's biography, is, you know, and I've worked other events as you have, and the other events seems like there's a lot of competition. And, you know, Richard talked about it. He goes, once the helmet's on, you know, we're competing. But everyone, it seems like, for the Outlaws behind production, be it a puller, be it a track prep, be it a sled operator, be it an announcer, be it a live stream camera operator, we understand we're in the world of production and we're on the same team, and the fans reflect that. You know, when we just watch these crowds grow and grow and grow, we got 500 members that show up at the banquet, and those 500 members are all playing for the same team and buying into the mission. It's you know, so I love to see that Luke noticed that, you know, those big crowds. You gotta love the big crowds. He says his message to the fans, he goes, come back to the pits and talk to us. He says, keep showing up to the pull. So he's big on fan engagement, and he acknowledges, he goes, without you guys, the fans, we couldn't do this. Where can you follow him on social media? He didn't list one, but I bet if you did a little searching, you could find some pretty cool pulling material out there on our various social media outlets. And if nothing else, you can follow him on the Outlaw Facebook page, where he will be our featured driver for the next week. Because when the smoke clears, you'll be looking at Luke Renner. You'll be looking at an Outlaw.
Yeah, I interviewed him after he won the points for that modified class in Madison, South Dakota. And he was like almost in disbelief. He couldn't believe he just won a championship, you know, with the Outlaws. I thought that was really cool that he was so appreciative of that. And it was awesome seeing him win that. And that one went right down to the wire between him and Matt Phelps. And that always makes it more exciting too, you know. So
Matt's another tough driver. Not one you easily get around, you know, like Richard talked about with his class. A lot of good drivers. David James, Joshua Rail, that class is going to be fun to keep an eye on next year too. Yeah.
So we talked about this last week, Mike, that we gave away one of these hats, the one you're wearing right now. And I teased everybody with giving this one away. Let's see if I can get this to, I got my green screen on and it's not picking it up, but it's, oh, well, it's your hat basically that you're wearing,
like mine.
But it's been signed by none other than Light Super Ag points champion this year, Corey Schluter. So the question is, points champion, not this year, let's go 10 years back in the Light Super class. Now I'm saying Light Super, I thought about making this a trick question because the Light Super Ag previously was the Light Super. So we're talking Light Super Ag 10 years back, 2014. So if anybody has the answer to that, the correct answer, we'll get this hat autographed by Corey Schluter, the 2024 champion, sent to you. So let's see what everybody's got out there. Everybody's trying to find their 2015 program to find out who the 2014 champ was. Do you have a 2015 program, Mike? Mike, did you freeze in time on us? I think we lost Mike. But if you know the answer, 2014 Light Super Ag points champion. I've got an autographed hat from Corey Schluter here that I will send to you. Yeah, we lost Mike. Not getting any answers yet here. Very interesting. It's not a trick question. Ben Beller. Nope, it is not the Grand River Deer. Zook Fukerberg. Haley's Comet. No, I think you're close. I think you're 1 year off there.
My computer died. What was the question?
Is that what it was?
Yep. My little deal over here. I knew my charger was in the other room, and it said 16 minutes. You have 16 minutes of power left. And I go, surely Ron and I can wrap it up in 16 minutes, and then phew. So it lied.
Yeah, I asked you a question and waited for you to answer. I noticed you weren't moving, so we must have lost it in there. You were frozen in time.
What was the Light Super stock? Not the because back with the Outlaws, you were saying we had like unlimited super stock and Light Super stock,
right?
Which was actually Light Super
is now
stock,
considered Light Super Ag.
Yeah,
the 2014 points champion.
Well, I'm not. I don't want to answer because people are chiming in, but I know I would have my guess just off the top of my head. I can.
Lost is not correct. Chris Barton is not correct. Haley's Comet, I think he was the 15 winner. Haley's Comet.
So Haley's Comet had not become.
Or no, I think he was maybe the 13 winner, 2013 winner.
When did Ulmer's purchase Haley's Comet?
It was Brian Bowles when he won the championship in 13, I think. Well, somebody in this group is close. I'll tell you that. Somebody in this group is on the right track. So, yeah, I asked you if you had a 2015 program, and then you were just frozen up on me. So.
I think so. Fred Patch set me up kind of with the necessary outlaw history by giving me the programs. He gave us both right there in Ravenna to start off the season. He gave us some programs. And I want to say my programs that he set me up with are right at 15. It might be a little bit before 15, but I think I'm definitely going downstairs and I'm going to look as soon as we're done here. But
yeah, it would be the 15 program that shows the 14 champs. So I will tell you of the 4 answers we have here. I'm going to say one of them is close. Mike.
And well, I know which one I think is close because I know who I've got in my mind that I would. Are you wanting the name of the driver or you want the name of the tractor?
Let's do driver and tractor. I think once you get the driver out there, you'll know the tractor.
Yep.
All right, how about
Yeah.
this? Let's throw out a hint. Ben Beller is digging through his programs right now, trying to find that 15 program. The tractor still pulls today in the light super stock ag class.
I mean, I'm. Did the light super stock ag tractor that we're talking about pull light super stock ag this year, or did it maybe hook in a slightly different class?
No, it pulled in the super stock ag class.
Okay. Then my guess would be wrong then, because
I will tell you at least one pull this summer, it pulled in the light super stock division.
Well, if it's a lot of the shows I did away from you, there was a light super stock ag pulling in the light super stock division.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it's not this one. So yeah, this man moved this tractor over a couple times to kind of compete against some people of different a different class and maybe some different fuel even.
Zuck Viergerberg says Mark Ulmer. That is incorrect.
Okay, well then that's me, because I would have guessed the weapon. So that's where I was going. The weapon that pulled light super ag, or that pulled light super this year. So I would have been wrong.
No, Tammy, the weapon is incorrect.
All right, that's where
Willis is on the right track. He's got the tractor. We just need the driver to go with the tractor.
Who's on the right track?
Mark. Ben, that is incorrect. Do we give it to him just because he got the tractor right? What do you think, Mike?
Which comment was it? Was it this one right here?
Yeah, that one right there. That is the winner, the barn buddy, Chuck Schluter, 10 years ago, won the points championship of the barn buddy. And 10 years later, his son wins with the barn burner, Corey Schluter. And there, he got it in there, Chuck Schluter. So after the show here, send us a message. Send me a private message, Mark, and I will send this hat signed by 2024 Light Super Ag Points champion, Corey Schluter.
Yeah, you're right, because it was at Buckner that they were gracious enough to enter both their tractors. I remember holding my breath because Corey was, on a tear for points, but didn't have it wrapped up yet. And I knew that Buckner pull was very close to home. And I thought, man, oh man, I love that you're pulling light super right now, please. Cause this tractor has had some breakage this year. Don't hurt it pulling in a different class, but they pulled both of them. You're right. They pulled light super with those light super ag diesels down there in Buckner, Missouri.
So awesome. Congratulations, Mark Wills. Get me your address and we'll get that hat in the mail to you. And we are officially 13 minutes over, Mike. So let's stick a fork in it. Say goodnight to everybody. Heading to PRI this weekend. We got the Iowa convention going on this weekend. Things are starting to pick up. Get ready for the 2025 season. So big thanks to you, Mike, for doing When the Smoke Clears. Big thanks to our guest, Richard Morris, for sitting in with us tonight, talk about his championship this year. Thanks everybody out there for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 7 p.m.
.45 and 86 right now. 3:45 and 86. Here we go with the Kentuckian.
Current points leader, 2024 points leader, 2022 points champion. This guy won the entire circuit 2 years ago, and he's leading the circuit right now. All this information available on the Outlaw Pulling app. Be sure to check out that Outlaw Pulling app. Holds a two. Listen to this, Sac City. Richard Morris back into the line right now out of Neosho, Missouri. Calls this one Buffalo's Chips. He holds a 2-point lead over Donald Nelson. Donald Nelson hasn't hooked a truck yet that's got that lead, but Donald Nelson is sitting out there in the number 1 spot. Donald Nelson will be joining us with the Whippet in a little bit. Only 2 points separate Donald and Richard. Current points leader, Buffalo's Chips.
Here you see grass.
Oh, yeah.
Missouri Buffalo's Chips. Time points champion just a few years back, Craig Ulmer and Sweet Pain. On fire, but if he doesn't see a red flag, he's not going to stop.
So this is for the championship, 2024 Outlaw Championship right here. Right now they're all chasing Ray Miller. Another bad decision. That Bucket T, he's out front, way out front here. 342 and 86, but like you say, kind of a race within a race here.
That's right. Got to love the stance on this old pickup, too. Looking down track at him here. Got the rear end up in the air there, the front end down low. Got those long, zoomy headers. Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi under that steel. Willie sheet metal. Adam Kester prepared Meyer Brothers Racing Hemi.
So once again, two-wheel drives working over here, left of center. Saw the Pro Stock tractors. That was pretty much where most of them ran over there. And these two-wheelers have kind of picked right up in that same spot.
342.86 the mark to beat. Out in Neosho, Missouri, Richard Morris, Buffalo's Chips.